So this is our migration host. I will let you know how to log into the our servers as well. So you need to go to the MSTSC. Maybe here they go to the MSTSC or RDP connection. You will get the this window. Here you need to enter the our IP details, which I will share it. Then once you just click on the connect button, so it will ask the password. Then the passwords also I will share with you, depends upon the sheet. That's why I asked you to update the sheet. Based on that, you will get the user ID and password. Then you will able to log into the our jump server, our migration server. You will to log in here. So here, so you can see the our in the desktop we can see the icons, logon pad, putty, and all those things we have here, right? So this is the way we need to log into the our remote server here. So coming to the our part, so since we are in the starting phase here, since we are in the starting phase of the database migration option here, right? So database migration option, we are in the starting phase here. So here we have some planning activities, some preparation activities we have here, right? So some DMO, the database migration option. So here we are using the DMO option. DMO option. So the DMO concept is it's not the new actually here, the DMO concept. So the DMO concept SAP introduced in the sum tool. It's already inbuilt with the sum tool here, inbuilt with the sum tool here, sum 2.0 and some 1.0. So the DMO features are included, inbuilt in the latest versions. Latest 3-4 versions, they have already included this DMO concepts and everything here, right? So here we have, so with DMO, with the database migration option of sum, so we can update the sum tool. So we can update our SAP systems, or without updating the SAP systems, we can migrate our database from one host to another host, or in place migration. The concept is called the, suppose your database already in the Linux host or something, so you want to just move to the some other host, there is in place migration, or so just splitting like move option. So we have multiple options are there in the some DMO concept here. In the some DMO concept, so we have these options are available here, right? With the sum 2.0, so normally we know when to use the sum 2.0 and sum 1.1, when to use it, we are already aware of. So sum 2.0, it is the our native SAP above systems on 7.5 or 7.5 or above, we should use the so some 2.0 we have to use it here. So this is for some 1.0, it's a below the below versions, below 7.5. So we have to use the some 1.1 option, we have to use it. There is no 1.0. SAP instead of 1.0, SAP given the option like 1.1 option here. So SAP stopped releasing the up to SP26, I think. SP26 1.0, SP26, that is the last patch in the sum tool. So after that, they have introduced the sum 1.1. So currently, there is no support for the sum 1.0. Sum 1.0, there is no support. There is no support from SAP. Means SAP is not supporting. SAP recommending to use so some 1.1 only. So some 1.1 is intended for update or upgrade of SAP systems or above systems or dual stack systems. The target system based upon the 7.4 or it's a lower version. So 7.4 or lower version when you are doing the upgrade or anything. So we have to use the some 1.1 here, right? But for our version, we are using the 7.5. So we have to use the some 7.5 version. We have to use it here, right? Some 2.0. We have to use it here. So the future of the DMO option in the sum tool is combines single procedure, means update. I mean to say the initial statement So in the sum 2.0, the DMO option is by default, it is enabled. By default, it is enabled here. The combined update or upgrade of the supported NetWeaver systems with the migration to the supported databases, it is enabled here. Means there is no specific parameter we have to change it, or specific settings we have to change it. So by default, the DMO option is enabled. So it depends upon the your XML file. So the DMO option is enabled in the systems here. So here the target databases, the sum tool with the target databases here, it supports like, so it supports like the SAP HANA database, which we are planning to migrate along with this one, the Sybase and MaxDB also SAP target database it will support, and the Unix, Linux operating system, that is also, right? If the target, so these are the databases which will support it here. And also we should have, as part of the planning activity, as part of the migration planning activities here, so we have some planning, some preparation activities we have to do it in the our source systems. Our source system means where your SAP and non-HANA database are running. So we have to do the some planning activities. Planning activities means here. So we need to make sure what is the your plan, what is the what is the your strategy you are following for the some DMO. Your source is like a, your source system is like a, suppose example, if you take here, this is your source system, right? So where your SAP and so DB is running on the same host here. So SAP and DB is running on the same host here. SAP and DB is running on the same host here. So you are just splitting the your databases to the separate Linux box you are splitting here. So Linux box we are splitting here. This is the our HANA version here. Here we have the HANA. So what we are doing here, this is the Windows box. Here we have the Windows box here, Windows box. So what we are doing as part of the some DMO concept here, as part of the some DMO concept here, so we are just starting the sum tool here. So we are only without touching the SAP system. That is the our planning, initial planning. The initial planning is here performing the DMO without system update. Without system update means normally when you are using the sum tool, definitely the XML file is required, the maintenance planner. In the maintenance planner we need to choose the required patch level, we have to choose it. Then when we are doing the upgrade, it will ask that do you want to do the database migration as well, then that time we have to choose the yes, like this. But in the sum 2.0 or some 1.0 latest versions, without touching the our SAP, just we can split the database, like we can split the database from 1 DB to here HANA database, we can move it here. One day to another, we can move it here. This is the suppose like SQL server database. So as per our plan. So this planning activities we have to perform it here. This planning activities we have to perform it here, which means we need to align the what strategy we have to follow. Performing the DMO database migration without system update. So we have the multiple options as we discussed yesterday. So performing DMO without system update, without system update. So DMO with system move option, with system move option here, right? So DMO2, there are multiple options here. DMO use cases, DMO2, DMO move to S4 HANA. That is also possible. That is our next step, right? So then DMO with the SLT, this landscape transformation, dual stack split, Unicode conversion, then downtime optimized DMO, homogeneous DMO, the latest feature, and the unique code, ASS split, dual stack split. So all those things, the sum tool, we have all those things, we can do that one. In that, so we have the main important options are DMO without system update. That is the option we are going to perform. Or you want to perform you want to move the system as well here, right? Suppose if you see here, suppose if you see here, here the database will be moved to the here, Then finally, your SAP system, instead of pointing to the here in the, it will point to the this HANA database here. Instead of pointing to the here in this HANA database here, but the source DB will stay, it will remain the same. It will not be touched. It will be the same up and running only here. Why? Because as we discussed yesterday, in case of if any reset option is required, then we will be in the position to revert back to the previous database again. So that is the reason. So we will not touch the this SQL, this source database, and also we will not touch the sum directory as well here. Why? Because in the sum directory there is a option. So I will show you that option as well. But here the initial planning is which we are planning for, like last time also we used the same option here, DMO without system update, which means your SAP will stay on the same, just it will database will move to the from SQL to here in another database, it will move it here. Another database, it will move to the another database here. That is the option. So we are using here, right? So this is the option we are planning to do, DMO without system update option here. This is a new option, just want to explore to the everybody. So, but because remaining options we know, but only this option is without touching the SAP system, how the DB is getting migrated. So here, what are the prerequisites to perform this DMO? So DMO without without updating our SAP system here, without updating our SAP system. So what are the prerequisites we need to follow it here, right? So to follow this one here, to follow here, the main thing is here, we need to perform the some of the prerequisites here. Here, like we don't intend to update our SAP software. We have to keep as is, even single component also we have to keep it here, right? Then so no need to update so SAP software here, right? Which means you no need to calculate no need to calculate or generate the your stack.xml file. That is not required any case here. Sir, then how it is possible without calculating the stack.xml file with some tool, even that is the above systems, Java systems, that is fine, but above systems without XML file, then how it is possible? Yes, that is possible. There is a option there, right? And so, and also we have the source releases, the source release of the your product running. So like means our source kernel is important here. So the source kernel, it should be up to date here. Source kernel, it should be up to date, should be up to date here. Up to date means latest version means 754, it should be 754, it should be SAP recommending to go with the 754, the source kernel should be. So why? Because in the kernel we have the R3 load tool. There is a very, very important here R3 load process here. Entire your database migration, the majority of the work will be carried by the your R3 load process in the sum. So some tool always call the your R3 load process to perform the table splitting option, uptime migration related activities, so downtime migration related activities, table splitting here. So moving the data, exports and imports, each and every work will be done by the your R3 load process here. So before we perform, always SAP recommend to do the kernel. At least this patch we have to update it here. So here I have some notes from SAP. So what and all the what should be the kernel version, what is the minimum OS and DB version should be required to use the 750. Nowadays all are using the 754, but what should be the your Linux version, your operating system Windows versions here. Suppose your source system is in the Windows 2020 2014, you are in the 753. When you are going for 754, your SAP system, it won't start. That is for sure. We already have the practical on this one. So that's why, so we need to match exactly the minimum OS and DB versions. We have to match it here. What is the minimum DB versions? So all those things, when you are going for the kernel versions, so and also the OS level libraries also should be up to date here. So this I will share it in the this I will share it in the our central repository. So we have the documentation of the central repository documentation here. So for each and every batch, we have the documentation repository. So I will create one folder for us. I will move the documentation, each and everything to that folder here, so that you all get the access to this one, so that you will come to know that what are the pre-steps of the OS installations, some other things what we are going to discuss. Each and everything is available here, right? So that will be easy to refer you instead of sharing in the WhatsApp and everything. Sometimes few members may be missed. So that is the reason I will share this documentation repository to everybody. Okay. So don't worry about that one. And also, so that is the minimum level. Why? Because some use the R3 load process. If you are using the old kernel and using the latest sum tool, there is a clash, right? So that is the reason. So always use the latest kernel, means 754. That is the latest which is supported for the source versions here. And also here the download directory should be exist here. Sir, what is this download directory here? What it contains in the download directory here? So in the download directory, we should be required the kernel files, SAP exe, SAP exedb, which is for the target HANA database, and we require the migration key, especially. Maybe I will add one more point, and here then some tool is required, some 2.0 is required. So these are the files we have to download, including your IGS and IGS helper. So these are the files you required as a kernel. I mean to say the kernel and some directory is some folder, some files are required in the source.
Sir,
Otherwise,
any host agent is required?
host agent, anyhow, we are
Sir,
updating the
host
host
agent.
agent in the source system already, right? So especially it's not required in
Okay.
case of you don't have the host agent on the source. Actually, during the installation itself, host agent is mandatory. It will be installed. In case of if you don't have the host agent, then I will say, I will mention one more point like SAP host agent update. In case of it's a lower version or something, you can just update the host agent. Normally, it's not required, but anyhow we will update the host agents as well, right? So in here, in case you are using the old version of the host agent, better to update the host agent. Why? Because some tool will not directly talk to the our SAP system here. Some tool will not directly talk to our SAP system. Via host agent only it will talk to our SAP system. So in that case, host agent also, if you have the up-to-date host agent, we won't face any issues like site cannot be reached, or still it's a rendering mode, browser rendering modes related things here. So it will easily open the screens and everything here. So here download directory contains only the latest kernel archives for the target HANA database or target Sybase database, whatever the database. Only it contains these things here. And also SAP, one more point it contains, they mention like does not contain any SAP software archives. SAP any software archives we should not contains here. So that is the one of the thing we need to. Why? Because we are downloading only these things means these things are not required. Just I have mentioned one point. Why? Because SAP intentionally, so in their maybe if you refer the some of the TADMs or something, so they have intentionally they have mentioned like does not contain any software archive files here. So that's the reason. So I mentioned this point as well here. So the overall context of this one. So before you starting the sum tool as a prerequisite for the migration perspective, so first of all, we need to align the what is the planning strategy we are performing DMO without system update. That is what we agreed. Or DMO without system move, that we also review that one. And also these are the things. And also the kernel should be up to date here, 754. And also download directory, what are the files we required in the download directory? XML file, that is does not required. Then in that case, what files we required? Definitely some tool is required. Definitely the kernels are required. Latest kernel archives are required for the target database, not the source database. Your source is the Windows, then source is the Windows here, then and non-HANA database, then don't download it for those things. You have to download it for the target HANA database. Target is the Linux HANA database. You need to, so make sure to download these files as well. Why? Because the starting the
Sir,
step
I
itself.
mean, sir, I have a doubt here. Um, so we are keeping just SAP in the source host itself, and in the download directory, you're telling like to have SAP EXP and EXE DB. So both are different platforms, right? So how SAP is going to communicate with different hosts, sir?
SAP
Because
will
we
communicate
already
it. SAP will communicate it. So that is the reason some is designed like this here. So we no need to worry about the how the communication, how the sum tool is communicating, how the sum tool is so connecting to the target and everything. So SAP sum tool is designed like this here. So it will copy. Why? Because some will create the shadow system. Next point I'm going to tell you is here without XML file, some is going to create a shadow system in source and the shadow repository on the target system side. So based upon this communication, shadow repository communication, so which means some will create the shadow system on the source, and the repository will be created on the target database, HANA database. That will clearly, it will when we run the sum steps, when we are doing the sum steps, it will clearly show you. So where it is creating and what log files are generating and which kernel it is taking, and the shadow is building based upon the which kernel. Is it running on the target HANA database or what? So it's clearly tell you. So based upon this shadow means your main system to and your target HANA database, how the communication happens means some will create the parallelly, some will build the one more shadow system, it will build it. So based upon this one, so some will communicate to the so our target HANA database via pipe mode, memory pipe mode, it will communicate it.
no. Okay.
Sir, here download directory means we need to create directory in server, right, sir?
Download directory means one folder you can create in the target side,
Create.
something like download or archives or whatever the naming convention you can create. It's not like that. I just mentioned that download directory means you have to
Correct.
create only download directory. Your name also you can keep it, but when the sum tool is asking, please provide the down, some tool will ask like, please provide the download directory. So that time we need to browse the path of the this wherever you have downloaded this archive files, right? So we need to download those files,
Okay, sir. Okay.
right? So means some will SAP will always tell like download directory, but we won't follow that one, right? We will create our own naming convention like migration files or something, kernel files or something. So we can also create our own files, but some will in the screen, some screen it will ask the please provide the download directory for archives. So that time we need to browse the path of where you have downloaded all those things. We need to browse that path so that some tool will take care of that one option here, right? So that is the additionally we need to so we need to ensure here. So the some execute no update, but it create the shadow system. So that is the one of the important point we should concentrate. Some with some SAP will not update anything, but even though some will create the shadow system without XML file. That is the one of the future, maybe latest version of the sum tool, it will create it here.
Sir,
Also,
in
we cannot integrate any customer transports into the in this DMO procedure. In the DMO procedure, it will not ask any transports, any customer transports procedure. These are
Hello.
the, yes, please.
Is there any utility or anything without stack it is generating the shadow system?
Yeah. When we are running the sum tool, you will come to know that time. So you can observe that time. So which option we are going to select it. Just I'm giving the information before before we start the sum tool in the screen sharing session. So before, why? Because we will start it. Maximum tomorrow we will start the sum tool without XML file. So all those things will happen. Why? Because today, few minutes back only our system is back, means our target system, your migration host is back. Here I need to do the some cleanup here. NW1 host, I need to delete it. We have to make it the ECD, and I need to change the host names and everything. So it will take some time. So instead of so that's why I'm just discussing about the overall planning procedure I'm discussing here, so that tomorrow exact some technical activities we will start it. That time you will come to know where this option is available
Okay,
and
sir.
how we are going to run the sum tool without XML file, without system update, and that too in the ABAP systems. So these are all the things tomorrow we are going to explore it here. Yeah, that's options are there, not in the utilities. When you are starting the sum tool, you have the option like sum without XML file option, you will get it out. So if we need to select that option, so if you want to show you, let me, maybe since you asked this question, yeah. Let me increase the font. This is the previous batch. So we opened the sum tool. That is fine. And yeah, you see here. So when you are starting the sum tool, there is a scenario strategy. So here you see here scenario using the stack XML file. No stack XML file. So you can see here no stack XML file scenario. When you select this no stack XML file scenario, here we have, see here, database migration without system update. So there is a benchmark tool, I will explain, table comparison tool, and also customer transport. These are all the things not required. Only our option is here, means without XML file, what are the possible scenarios you can do? In that, one is the option is called the DMO without system update. DMO without system update here. Then you can choose the DMO without system update. Then it will ask the standard or downtime optimized, then followed by the other procedures and everything here. Even one more thing is migration key. Migration key also required here. So that is also, I think I mentioned here. So migration key. So that is also very important thing. Migration key based upon the your installation number. So based on installation number, we need to generate the migration key. So we can generate the migration key also. I will also explain how to generate the migration. So installation number, migration key. So that is also, we will do that one here, migration key. So these are the preparation activities we have to do it before starting the sum tool. Otherwise, during the starting of the sum tool also we can download it, but it will be delay our activities. Why? Because we need to wait for the downloading and everything. But we will download it during the sum tool itself. In the class itself, we will do it each and everything here. Right? So that is what we have to do it. One more here, only important points which I mentioned earlier. So we cannot integrate any customer transports into the DMO procedure. DMO will not allow you to add any customer transports. Also, it create the shadow system. These two important points you remember here. Then the procedure is here. So we can start the sum tool. Then initial dialogues without system update, that we can do it in the tomorrow in the class itself. So coming to the so preparation activities. So once the source system, directly can you execute, or what are the activities you perform it here in the source system? That we will call it as the, so preparation on the source system here, preparations.
Hello, Ravindra.
Yes.
Since we are performing a new implementation, do we need to require to build a new VM?
Yeah, I built it, right? Just to explain it.
Yeah.
So we have built the new VM, and but new system installation we have to do it. I'm going to uninstall all those things, and I'm going to delete everything. So yeah, we are going to install the new system as well.
But you mentioned you are not touching the existing ECC, right? So if we
No, the existing
uninstall it.
ECC is running on the different VM actually. You can see
Okay.
existing ECC running on the different VM. Just I cloned this VM to the new VM. Then after that, I am going to clean up, do the some cleanup of the this existing systems, profiles, host names, rename everything. I'm going to do that one. So this will take some procedure, right? So that's why. So if you want, we can do it in the class itself. We can perform it this one. Otherwise, so I will perform it this housekeeping activities in the offline, and I will hand over the system to you guys. So you guys perform the fresh installations, and
No, sir. We'll do in the class only.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, installation also you guys are interested to in the class itself, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay, done.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll start the installation as well. I will do the some cleanup today and we'll start the fresh installation. Then we will load the some of the custom data via SLTR and via maybe transports. We have the we have some transports. Once the data is loaded, then we'll start the whatever the things are we are discussing now. So the all those things we will download it. Just
We are going to install the new system, or we are going to do the system rename.
we are going to install the new system, but people are saying that they need installation. They are interested in the installation, right? That's why, if not problem, then we can just rename the existing one.
So
Both the cases, I am okay. That's your guys. Like I'm okay in any case. So if you want,
regularly we will do the installations, na, sir. So we'll go for the system rename. So it is
No,
better to
installation is better, sir. Like
Better to
we are
install.
beginner, yeah.
okay, okay, user, it will not take much time actually installation. Why? Because it's a high speed the VMs, so it will not take much time. So, but we'll do in the class maybe one or two classes maybe waste, but not a problem. We'll do installation in the class itself. Okay, so don't worry, we'll do the installation. We have the softwares already ready. So SAP softwares in the C drive. So ECC and the kernel files, everything is ready. So nothing to worry. Just we have to start the SWPM tool, do the installation. That's it. So I will do the cleanup for today. I will provision the access for you guys so that you guys can start doing all these activities and everything. So tomorrow in the class, we'll start the installation. So before that, so I'm just giving the some information about the DMO procedure. DMO, what are the things we required before starting the sum tool and migration keys and all those things. And also as part of the preparation activities. So preparation activities are very important here, especially BW systems. We have to, so some more like some process change and those things we need to do the some cleanup here. So especially DMO. So before we do the migration here, there is a checking for in the source systems. Check, this is all are the free steps for the source system here. Checking the pool and cluster tables here. Pool and cluster table, especially in the ECC system, checking the pool and cluster. SAP recommended to check all the pool tables or cluster tables in the source system before the migration. Why? Because so sometimes what happens, some cluster records, the corrupted cluster records, initial cluster records, the pool tables contains the some of the readable pools are readable, some BCD numbers in that entries. So in that case, recommending we to perform the check in the cluster data. There is a cluster data check that is integrated with the sum tool here. Check the cluster data means before we run the directly go with the some migration, there are the some tools SAP introduced. One is the benchmark tool. Second one is the check cluster data. It will check the your cluster and pool tables are, is it consistency or not, it will check here, right? So that is the very important here. Otherwise there are the some reports here in the source system, we can execute it so that check will give you the, so are there any inconsistency items in the cluster and pool tables, that will give you the clear information, and also it will give you the information what we have to do in case of, so in case of anything, any pool tables or cluster tables are wrong or inactive objects or something, it will give you the same information here. Otherwise, some tool, the check is included. Otherwise, there is a report in SA38. So that report we have to execute. That is called the SDBI underscore and the cluster check, I think. Yes, I think this is the one. So this is the report we need to execute on the source systems before we starting the sum tool. So why? Because it is performed by the R3 load executable in the discarded mode. It will use that technology so that it will use the checking the all the pool tables, cluster tables, any inconsistency items, any corrupted entries, any BCD overflow number entries or anything. It will cross check. It will give you the results to us so that we can run this one in the, we can run it in the source systems. So once this is green, so then we are good. And the next one is the some of the uh next one is like a, so BW systems. So the BW systems, we have more things like RFC destination, checking the RFC destination into the BW client here, right? So that is the one of the thing here, and you should have the nursery authorization objects. Some of the background job user which you are trying to use for the, why? Because it should be required actually. One of the report it will generate for the BW user. So for BW systems, for the process chains and all those things, that time, so one super user authorizations are required for the BW tables here, deleting the some of the info objects, some of the nodes as per the SAP recommendations for the BW recommendations. I can say like here, BW recommendations, we need to, like before performing some of the reports, some of the process chains, so some of the nodes we have to, so we have to execute it. So to avoid issues in the while migrating the BW system from some another HANA to HANA database, so SAP recommending to apply the some of the nodes. There is some nodes actually, and also some of the info objects. There is a one info objects deletion, some of the things here, and also yeah, these things are some of the recommended options for the BW systems here. So the main EC systems, the cluster and pool tables, and the BW systems, this is the recommendations for them. And so, and additional checks, and also some additionally some finance accounting, some general ledger, some of the, if anything activities are there, so those also the SAP given the some of the items like open items, and also to check the consistency, there are the some reports like tax assessments, fixed assets. So there are the some reports SAP given in the standard our DADMs. So to perform before you run the migration, there are the some tasks we have to perform for the Sarufico related things and accounting related, GL related things, some financially related things, some of the reports we have to execute it. The FI related jobs we have to execute it before, so that it will check the consistency, and if any inconsistency, it will clear it here. That report we have to execute it here, right? So in case of it is the source is the Oracle database, that we need to check the statistics, index, and database parallelism, and those things we have to do that one. And also that's part of the preparation activities here. So build the target system, build the target system, target HANA system on, so Linux box here. This is the one of the important thing. These are all the normal, but only thing is the, so this is the very important. Why? Because starting of the sum step, after 2-3 steps, after it will ask the please provide the target system details, your HANA host name, your HANA DB SID, instance number, all the details it will ask it. So parallelly, when you are doing this preparation activities here, we need to build the target HANA system as well in the Linux system here. That is also one of the important thing here, right? So, and also the migration key request, that is also one of the preparation activities that we mentioned already here. And also latest database client software also. right? As part of the preparation activities, the download directory. So I think one thing is I mentioned like here. So HANA client, this is also very important here. So HANA client software we required, right? And also the SAP permanent license, host agent, that is and all that we discussed already. So these are the main preparation activities, and also space here. The space also should be required here. The space and the source system, because the shadow will be creating on the source system. The repository is creating on the target HANA database. So space at source level, source space at file system level, some space is required here. And when you are doing this one, we are not touching any SAP, right? So if any failed update records, normal our upgrade procedures, we have some mandatory pre-checks, right? Any inactive objects in the source, we have to activate it. Inactive objects or anything in SEAT, the browser. So we have to, any inactive objects, we have to activate it here before you go for that one. Any like failed update records, or if anything, we need to reprocess those failed update records here. Failed update records, we have to do that one. And one more thing is here, yeah, SM58, if any TRFCs, any failed LUWs are there, so we need to reprocess those things as well. Because some tool, especially for the, so the queues wise, so MCEX star queues, especially for the ECC systems. So these queues should not, there should not be any open items in these queues, MCEX queues. Especially for the ECC systems, these queues are available. So because it's a inbound queues, this should be up to date. Inbound is like a, which is updating the your SQL server database. So after you after you upgrade to the HANA database, you realized that will create the some problem. That's why, so we have to do the all the pre-steps or preparation activities before we doing these activities and everything here. Then, so then after that, suppose if you want to, your customer or someone asked you to calculate the the migration rate, production, especially for the production systems, there is a benchmark tool also available. There is a benchmark tool that is available to calculate the migration rate. That is also inbuilt with the some 2.0. Means all these features are included in the, so means someone like your customer asked you to estimate the migration, how much time it will take. So there is a benchmark tool. So that is option is available. So using that benchmark tool, we can estimate the migration rate. What is the, like based upon the how many optimal like R3 load process, what is the migration rate for this database, for this much of database, how much rate. But this based upon the, this many this many RT load process. If you increase the workload process, RT load process, how much will be decreased, the migration transfer rate and everything will be, so we can estimate it before you go for the actual migration for the production database. There is a benchmark option, the benchmark tool option, that we can use it here. So this is for the optimization of the various parameters, RT load process, everything here. So your main thing is the R3 load. Some uses the R3 load is the one of the kernel file. Inside of the kernel, there is the one of the, inside of the kernel directory, R3 load is the one of the binary file. Some always use this R3 load process for exporting, importing, for anything. Some will use the R3 load process here, right? So that is the pre-steps which we have to do it in the systems here, right? So then, so while doing the migration, so here it will ask the silent database migration, or uptime migration, or downtime optimized migration, or standard migration options. So there the some options will come. That time you will get the clear picture. Instead of telling now, that time you will get the clear picture. What are these options and everything here. That one, so we can discuss during that time here, right? That is the migration concept here. So the main feature of the DMO concept is here, avoiding the landscape changes. Using the some DMO concept, we can avoid the landscape changes to the SID host names. Why? Because that allows the combination of the some of the steps like in place migration to the target HANA database, Unicode conversion, update, migration. In one tool, there are the multiple features SAP introduced. That's why the SAP, this DMO concept they have introduced here, right? The fastest to reset, the fast to reset functionality also. The source database remain consistent throughout the procedure, and the fast reset functionality also available. That is called the easy reset option that we have explored, right? That is also I will show you how to get that option. So that's why they have Unicode conversion, dual stack split, and a database database update to the any DB, updating the SAP software, migration to the target database. So these all the functionalities in one single tool, that is the SUM 2.0, they have included. They have included here, right? In the sequence wise, we need to start. And also the shadow system also will be created, the shadow system, shadow repository. So that all the things will be created during this throughout the procedure, it will be created. But the repository, normally when we are doing the upgrade, shadow repository will be created on the source database. But here, when we are doing here, the shadow repository will create on the target version, target side, it will create it here. Target instance side, it will create it here. So during the uptime database set, there's a lot of things will come into the picture, and I will explain it one by one. When we go for the actual execution, you will get all those things, the procedure, everything here, right? And also benchmark tool, what is the use of the benchmark tool here? How can we run the benchmark tool, and what is the how to calculate the migration route, percentage, without copying the data, or with copying the data, only selected tables. So those things, all the features are available in the benchmark tool here, right? So that we will start it. When we start the sum tool, all these features we will come to know. When we are in the sum screen, we will get the all these features. So that time we will execute all those things. Okay. So yes, I think that's it for today. Only thing